Hello, I'm Richard Raffan. About 3 weeks ago I roughed out some Osage orange, and this is one of the big bowls which I'm now going to finish off, and that's what you're going to see in this video. So the bowl, I didn't actually put a date on it, but it was roughed out about 3 weeks ago, and it has distorted slightly. Do it in millimeters first, which is easier. So that's 265 to 270, so it's moved 5 millimeters, which is yes, I'm not quite sure what it is in inches. So that's 10.5 inches roughly, just a little bit over. What's it? Yes, whatever it is, another 16th over by 10 3/8. It's going into a 5-inch chuck. So first job is just to true it up. And I'm running this at just under 1,000. 1/2-inch bowl gouge, 1/2-inch flute. Now at this stage I have two options for approaching the whole build. One is to reverse chuck it, which is my preferred option, and these grooves are so I can put this over a chuck. They warp, so I need to true them up, and then I can reverse the bowl onto the bigger jaws. If you don't have the bigger jaws, another way to do it is to just turn the bowl now and then get at it as best you can, and then it's reverse chucked at the end to get the bottom turned off. And in fact that is the way I'll do it. I've been dithering. Right, so I'll just true up the inside. This was quite wet 3 weeks ago, and it's dried out quite a lot just in that time, which is good because when I was green turning it, it stained my shirt, in fact ruined a shirt. So next thing to do is going to be to get as much of the outside done as possible. Now, unfortunately I forgot to press the button, get the camera going when I was actually truing this up, and now to the trued up stage. I've had to move the rest behind the bowl up against the headstock because I couldn't get the longer rest around, and I've got my shorter rest or middle-sized rest in here, and using the 3/8 bowl gouge, 3/8 flute, and I'm able to run up now up around 1100. Not a comfortable thing to do. Now I'm going to use the left wing, just tool right on its side, just to sneak in up on the rim, otherwise I'll chip the rim away. Coming around here, that is a little bit lumpy. The best way to get at this is going to be with a scraper. flat to start with. I've got a kind of lump up here. Oops. Not used to working this way round, so it's really hardened up considerably in the last 3 weeks. I don't know. Try a slightly longer edge. Shear scraping all the way around with the tool up on edge. Get in as tight as I can on top of the chuck. Nasty little catch there, which I hope hasn't ripped too much out. No, good. Up near the edge here there is a little knot which will probably be disposed of when I do the rim. Right, so I now sand the outside of that. I'm going to use power. So I'm using 120 grit in the angle drill, and there will be dust extraction. And sanding it, it's just about 1,000, just over 1,000. And that's not cutting that well, it wasn't a new disc. Bit of picked up grain up here. $180. I hope. Yep. And that is 85 mil, and the overall depth is 95. So not much to play with in the bottom. I'm going to be rechucking this, so I want to undercut the rim very slightly so it makes it easier to chuck onto a jam chuck. Got the light in the wrong place. going to tilt that out to get rid of the little knot. Wood is extremely noisy, very noisy. Right, this feels a bit fatter, roughly where my thumb is. You can see my thumb. Coming with a heavier gouge now. This is the 1/2 inch bowl gouge, the other one was the 3/8. Not picking that edge up, so I need to go back to the grinder. Well, on this occasion the trip to the grinder wasn't that successful because I failed to pick up a teeny little facet on the end of the tool, which is why I then transferred back to the 3/8 gouge. Just went a lot better around that little bit. So it's about 1/2 inch. Up on edge to shear scrape there. Far too dangerous to bring in that flat. Far too likely to grab. better off with a heavier rest, and it also needs to be slightly longer at this stage. To gauge that curve with a flatter radius tool. And then you can also check that with a little straight edge. Just really looking at the shadow underneath. To feel right too, which it doesn't at the moment. Down the bottom here there's a bit of a bark intrusion, or it's actually the tail end of a knot, which is solid on the outside. Doesn't look too bad there, but I'll just fix that with epoxy, blackened 10-minute epoxy. I have this pinch of African blackwood dust, which I've had for years, which I've saved off when I was turning boxes. This kind of powder comes out, so that's wonderful for those of you with access to that wood. Right, so that's that, and I'll now re-chuck it so I can turn off the base. I have this elderly bit of fur of some sort. I'm not quite sure what it is, some sort of softwood. So I need to know the diameter. I should also check the thickness of the base, would be a sensible thing to do. Right, so I don't want to lose too much in the middle. And this is this bill's really feeling quite heavy, heavier than I was expecting. So I was half expecting it to be a bit larger, than a bit thicker. So as always, just true these things up. so it's going to be down just inside, just about that diameter, so I've got to take that shoulder off. I think it's about there. It's almost exactly there. Good. So now I want a shallow taper here. And that actually is better done with a spindle gouge, so you can get the longer point of the spindle gouge more into the corner. That fits just over the end. The taper at the moment is probably about 5 degrees. Take it back down nearer 1. That little crunching sound. I don't think that will come off, but I will bring the tailstock up. Now, neither do I want to have a point going into the wood because I haven't got that much, we've just discovered, so I'll take this one out. And I have an old one of an old conical centre which I ground back. It's got a flat nose. So that will keep the bowl on. Now it's not running absolutely true, but true enough. So just to the left of the nose of the 3/8 deep fluted bowl gouge. And then I'm going to shear straight the rest. And just fare one surface into the other. Just a very shallow curve here, just so that the bowl's going to rest on its rim rather than spin on some central point. Still a bit rough out on the edge here. Something's grabbing at the ruler and it's just a little bit of torn grain there. Just mark that where I know where to look for it. I'll take that away with a combination of taking the curve in a bit further. And I think that's taken care of it. It has, good. Now I can use this tool all the way across. Now I'm just going to finish that with the tailstock still in place, and then I'll back the tailstock off and take the last bit away. So going through the same grit, same procedure as before. Can't get in there with the drill. So 180 grit will be enough here. At least I hope it will be. Yeah. I might put a bit of decoration on the bottom too. Line up my 180 and 240 on top of my dust hood, because I need a hand on the bottom of this bowl just in case it comes loose. Three-eighths spindle guide, 3/8 flute, and I'm going to be safer doing this with a shear scraper. And that is going to get boiled linseed oil. Boiled linseed oil actually mixed with rice bran oil, because this bowl is going straight into use. And so while I've got it on the outside, I might as well just buff it up here. Just get the surplus off and then get a sock onto it. A bit of beeswax in the sock, not much, but that is all that bowl needs, as it will probably be in use by the end of the week. Now I've got to get it off, and the simplest way.